أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وأتموا الحج والعمرة لله فإن أحصرتم فما استيسر من الهدي ولا تحلقوا رؤوسكم حتى يبلغ الهدي محله فمن كان منكم مريضا أو به أذى من رأسه ففدية من صيام أو صدقة أو نسك فإذا أمنتم فمن تمتع بالعمرة إلى الحج فما استيسر من الهدي فمن لم يجد فصيام 3 أيام في الحج و7 إذا رجعتم تلك 10 كاملة ذلك لمن لم يكن أهله حاضر المسجد الحرام واتقوا الله واعلموا أن الله شديد العقاب. صدق الله العظيم. So from here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the next few ayat, some ahkam, some commands regarding the hajj are being discussed. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the ayah وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا, through this ayah, the fardiyah, the necessity, the obligatory nature of hajj was made fard upon those that are able. And over here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning a hukum, a command regarding both the hajj and umrah. And what is that? That once any of these acts, or rather any ibadah which is started, then it shall be completed. And so Muhammad, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that وَلَا تُبْطِلُوا أَعْمَالَكُمْ, that a person should not nullify their a'mal, their acts. So a person stand up to perform, for example, 2 rak'ah salah. After a few minutes you think, hey, I think I have to mow the lawn. Just leave this and walk out of the salah. So that's incorrect. That's not, a person is not allowed to do that. So for example, if it's a nafil salah, then a person has to do qada of that salah again. So over here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning regarding hajj and umrah that وَأَتِمُّ الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ, that complete hajj and umrah. Atimmu means to complete something from tamam. وَأَتِمُّوا الْحَجَّ, the hajj, the act of hajj, وَالْعُمْرَةِ, and the umrah, lillah, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One is the physical acts, that a person should complete it. That person doesn't just get into the state of ihram and then he says that, okay, I don't feel like doing it anymore, and they no longer fulfill the umrah. That is one, the physical aspects of it. And the other is to complete these, yani to perform these ibadat with the faraid, the wajibat, the sunnah that come with it, the adab, the etiquettes, and all of the acts that are related to it. So it's not that a person says that, I'll stick to the bare minimal. Rather, it is every aspect of it. Even those things which are maybe in fiqh terms may be considered to be preferable, that you don't have to do it. But itmamul hajj, mufassirun mentioned that itmam, completion of hajj and umrah, will also mean that a person should do it in the best manner possible, to complete it in the best manner possible. وَأَتِمُّ الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ. Now, a certain situation that may arise, that may come up, is that a person has the intention and a person is now in the state of ihram, but for some reason they cannot go forward to Makkah Mukarramah, and they cannot go forward and perform their hajj or umrah. For example, they get detained at the airport. That happens. So a person is in the state of ihram. One is the physical, the garments that a person puts on, but ihram is more a state that a person is in after one makes the intention and says the talbiyah, which is labbaik Allahumma labbaik. So that state, a person can't just come in and out of the state as he or she pleases. Rather, there are acts that have to be done, and a person has to do give a certain fidyah for that. Now, what if a person is in the state of ihram, but due to unforeseen circumstances, not because they're just saying that I just don't feel like doing it. Maybe someone is severely sick, they can't take this travel, they can't move forward with the travel, or they get detained because of some third-party issue, something else. So what to do now? What's the way out? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, فَإِنْ أُحْصِرْتُمْ. Ihsar over here can refer to any of these situations, basically a situation which does not allow a person to go forward. فَإِنْ أُحْصِرْتُمْ فَمَسْتَيْسَرَ مِنَ الْهَدِي. Then whatever Hadi will explain what that means. Istaysara, whichever is available to that person, whichever is easy for that person to sacrifice. The hadi are those animals that can be sacrificed, that can be sacrificed, which we do for udhiyah. So for example, goats, for example, sheep, cows, camels. So any of these animals are considered to be hadi. So any such animal which a person can afford, which a person can find, which a person can send forward. Now over here, what would be the practical aspect from doing it, for example, from here? Now you won't send your sheep from here, rather you'll make a purchase over there. You have an agent or whoever you would, whichever Hajj group you are with, they would make those arrangements and they would purchase a hadi animal, most probably a sheep or a goat, and it would be sacrificed in the haram Makki. It would be sacrificed over there. Now once that animal is sacrificed, once a person gets the news that okay, your hadi has been sacrificed, now the person can shave or cut their hair short, and now a person will be out of the state of ihram. So this would be the method of doing so. فإن أحصرتم فما استيسر من الهدي. The ayah says ولا تحلقوا رؤوسكم, do not shave your heads. And ulama also mentioned based on the sunnah of Rasul that qasr, to trim would also be permissible. ولا تحلقوا رؤوسكم حتى يبلغ الهدي محله, until the hadi reaches its place, meaning it's sacrificed in the precincts of the haram. Now this ayah is also, as we recall and point back to the ahkam that were before this, that we were speaking about jihad, that when the Sahaba anhum in the 6th year when they were detained, right? They were detained, they weren't allowed to move forward. So now the Sahaba anhum had this other aspect, another mas'ala, another issue that came up, that we are in the state of ihram. Now what do we do? So this is when these ayat were also revealed, that complete the Hajj and Umrah for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now they weren't able to go forward, they were detained. So فَإِنْ أُحْصِرْتُمْ فَمَا اسْتَيْسَرَ مِنَ الْهَدْيِ. So the Sahaba did this, and thereafter the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they shaved their heads, or those that did qasr, يعني they trimmed it. وَلَا تَحْلِقُوا رُؤُوسَكُمْ حَتَّى يَبْلُغَ الْهَدْيُ مَحِلَّهُ. Now, the general rule is, as the ayah is saying, that a person cannot shave or cannot trim their hair from anywhere in their body until they are out of the state of ihram. But as we said, the ad-dinu yusrun, and the correct meaning of ad-dinu yusrun, we explained that deen has ease in it. So what is the ease given to those people that have a certain sickness because of which they have to, for example, keep their hair, cut their hair again and again? Meaning they can't wait for such a time that they can allow their hair to grow, or they need to be shaving their head, for whichever reason. For example, ulama of Tafseer will mention that someone has lice in their head. So now they need to at least trim or shave their head. What can they do in this situation? Is it allowed for them? Are they allowed to trim their hair or shave their heads? So the Quran Kareem says that yes, فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا, whoever is sick, meaning a sickness which means that a person will have to shave their head for, أَوْ بِهِ أَذًى مِنْ رَأْسِهِ, or there is any أَذًى مِنْ رَأْسِهِ, one tafsir of it is a person has lice, for example. Then yes, you can go ahead and shave it, but there is a fidyah for it. There is an amount that has to be given for that. What is that? فَفِدْيَةٌ مِنْ صِيَامٍ أَوْ صَدَقَةٍ أَوْ نُسُكٍ. So a person has 3 choices. What fidyah shall be given? Fidyatun min siyam. Either a person can fast. How many days? This is the tafsir of this is in the hadith of Rasulullah in Bukhari, which is 3 days. 3 days a person can fast for. فَفِدْيَةٌ مِنْ صِيَامٍ أَوْ صَدَقَةٍ. A person can give sadaqah. What is the sadaqah amount that is to be given? That is the same fitra amount that we have. A person will feed 6 poor people, 6 masakin. So for example, if we have $7 here, then someone who is in this situation, they would do 7 times 6, which is 42, and they would pay that amount. فَفِدْيَةٌ مِنْ صِيَامٍ أَوْ صَدَقَةٍ أَوْ نُسُكٍ. Nusuk will mean that a person can sacrifice an animal, a goat, for example. So a person has these 3 choices if they're stuck in this situation. Now once a person, the next part of the ayat is that فَإِذَا أَمِنْتُمْ, that once you reach safety. Safety here is that the ihsar that was there. Ihsar means that detainment. A person is no longer detained. Once that is uplifted and a person can still make it, if a person can still make it the same year, for example, a person is detained for a few hours. right? So then it's not an issue. They can still make it that year. Then they would have to go forward. And if they cannot, then they will have to do qadha of it next year or whenever they can thereafter. So فَإِذَا أَمِنْتُمْ, once this ihsar is uplifted, then over here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning a command which rectifies an idea that the mushrikun had before Islam. That the Ahlul Jahiliyyah, they used to think, again, as we mentioned, that there were many remnants of Millah Ibrahimiyya still amongst the pagan Arabs, the Jahiliyyah, that they would perform Hajj, they would perform Umrah, obviously with many mistakes and with many wrong ideologies, but that the skeleton was there, that they did understand that there is something called Hajj, there's something called Umrah, the rites of Hajj, and these things they still had amongst themselves, maybe even culturally. So one of the ideas that they had is that during the Ashhurul Hajj, during the Ashhurul Hajj, Ashhur meaning the months of Hajj, they had this thought that a person cannot combine between Umrah and Hajj. Then once that the Ashhurul Hajj start, which is Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, and 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, that during the Ashhurul Hajj, the months of Hajj, then during that time a person cannot combine between this is the Jahili thought that they had, that a person cannot combine between Umrah and Hajj. So over here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rectifies this thought, and the ayah of the Quran Kareem clarifies that those people that live outside of the miqat, I know there are many new terms maybe being discussed today, these are ahkam. So miqat are those areas before which a person has to tie the ihram on before they enter into Makkah Mukarramah. Anyone intending to go towards the haram, they cannot pass the miqat area unless if they are in the state of ihram. So those people that live outside of the miqat, which is, for example, us. In fiqh terminology, they'll be called afaqi. Afaq meaning people from outside of the miqat. So nowadays, usually flights that go from here, many times they'll stop in Dubai. People will put on their ihram on their airport, and then they make announcements on the airplane that the miqat is coming. If anyone hasn't, then they'll put it on. So all of these things, alhamdulillah, are very set nowadays, and the ahkam are also taught to people. So فَإِذَا أَمِنْتُمْ فَمَنْ تَمَتَّعَ. So the hukum is that those people that are outside of the miqat, they may perform the Umrah and Hajj in that same safar, in that same travel, even if it's Ashhurul Hajj. For those living within that time, they cannot. They can only perform the Hajj and not the Umrah. فَإِذَا أَمِنْتُمْ فَمَنْ تَمَتَّعَ بِالْعُمْرَةِ لِلْحَجِّ فَمَا اسْتَيْسَرَ مِنَ الْهَدْيِ. But those people that are doing both of these rites, meaning the Umrah and the Hajj. If a person is doing Umrah and Hajj, then they have to give a hadi, again an animal, a sacrificial animal, to show their shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for being able to combine both these great ibadat in one safar, in one travel. Because a person is able to perform Umrah, a great ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and obviously the Hajj being the fard of Islam, one of the fara'id, that is also another great ibadah. So because a person is able to do both of these in one travel, so out of shukr, for this gratitude, for this opportunity to perform both of these ibadat, a person has to give this hadi, a sacrificial animal. That's the qurbani fees that the groups will charge people. That's for this. Now say for example someone cannot afford it. From here they won't let you go if you don't give the fees, but that's besides the point, right? If someone where they don't have the system of the groups, there's someone that cannot afford it, what do? فَمَنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ فَصِيَامُ ثَلَاثَةِ أَيَّامٍ فِي الْحَجِّ. Then a person has to fast 3 days during the ayyamul hajj. So the last of this will be on the 9th. Before the 9th, they have to finish their 3 days of fasting. وَسَبْعَةٍ إِذَا رَجَعْتُمْ. And 7 days a person will have to fast. And 7 will have to be fasted after the days of Hajj, wherever they may be, even after they come back to their own country, to their own city, to their own places. The 3 days during the Ayyamul Hajj, the last of it will be the 9th Dhul Hijjah, and 7 will be after the days of Hajj. Once they come to their own homes, then they wherever they are, whether they come back, whether they're staying in Medina, whichever it may be. وَسَبْعَةٍ إِذَا رَجَعْتُمْ تِلْكَ عَشَرَةٌ كَامِلَةٌ. These are 10 complete days that a person will have to fast if they cannot afford the sacrificial animal for showing shukr for tamattu'. تِلْكَ عَشَرَةٌ كَامِلَةٌ ذَلِكَ لِمَنْ. Now over here at the end Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said ذَلِكَ, that is meaning this dispensation or this allowance for allowing to do both these ibadat in one safar, in one travel. ذَلِكَ لِمَنْ لَمْ يَكُنْ أَهْلُهُ حَاضِرِ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. This is for those people that they are not from the Ahlul Masjid al-Haram. What's Ahlul Masjid al-Haram? It's within the miqat. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهِ. Now after all these ahkam of Hajj, a person is going ready for Hajj. It's very interesting rather that the Quran Kareem at the end of all of this mentions what? وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهِ. Have the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Any person may think that if you're going for this in the travel of Hajj anyways, it goes without saying that, I mean, of course you have, it would only make sense that a person has a taqwa of Allah. But again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds that even if it is a safar, a travel of Hajj, but a person obviously has to check you have to check your intention. During the trip, there may be many situations where a person may be faced with many difficulties. Again, it will be the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that will stop a person from fighting with others. It will be the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which will allow a person to have that sabr, to have that patience. It will be the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that will allow a person to control their gazes, for example. So it's the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether it's Hajj or ghayr Hajj. Yani what lesson a person takes is that wherever a person may be, the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is something which cannot be set aside, cannot be displaced from whatever a person is doing. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهِ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. And know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very severe in His punishing. And at the end of the ayat of Hajj, the commands of Hajj, that Mufassirun also mentioned that there is a shara indication in this, that those people that take the ahkam, the rights of Hajj very lightly. They don't really say that, yeah, bas chal jayega, ho jayega, that type of attitude many people have, that, yeah, it's okay, we'll just do it, and they don't really read up on it, they're not interested. One is a person makes a human, genuine mistake. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives that. That's a person's khata. But one is a mistake because a person had a nonchalant attitude. They didn't care about it. A person didn't show any regards. And this is such a great ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Many people only do it once in their life. We're given this opportunity. Many people, alhamdulillah, they do it multiple times. But most people, they only get this opportunity once in their life. So now, such a great ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a person should prepare for that. A person should be ready for those things and should educate themselves. So وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهِ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. That a person should complete these arkan and these rights that have to be fulfilled in the correct manner. Make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept each and every one of us, inshallah, for the safar, that Allah, those that are going, those that have intention, Allah make it easy for them, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept everyone.